It's time to talk about the true Resident Evil 3, Nemesis, Book 5 of the Resident Evil books by S.D. Perry. Now, if Underworld was on the goofy end of the the Resident Evil scale, this is the bleak horror end of the Resident Evil scale. We've got a Jill story that kind of retcons what was set up in City of the Dead with her and Chris leaving the city. It's retconned that they split up and she goes back into the city to find more umbrella, like, fortresses or whatever, like figure out what they were all doing in Raccoon, even though they had a good enough idea of it. I guess she needed to do more of it just to have an excuse for her to be in the city when it's barricaded. So this book's about her and a guy named Carlos, who's an umbrella mercenary, and he's sent in. They believe his squad believes they are sent in to save civilians. They are not, and he's also been talking to Trent, and Trent is trying to get him to do what Trent wants. Like in all of these Resident Evil books, Trent is the one pulling strings. So he tells Carlos some things to help him out. Also, Jill runs into the pilot from the first game, the one that's a chicken and like fled and hasn't been seen ever since, only to have him murdered in front of her by a new tyrant named Nemesis. His one goal, to kill the stars. So this book has probably the best portrayal of Nemesis I can think of. It really gets the original horror aspect of being chased by Nemesis for the whole game. It really, it makes you uncomfy with the Nemesis following Jill constantly. Also, we have Nikolai, who is Carlos's superior officer, who is a sociopath that's trying to kill all these other Umbrella people so that he can get more money from stealing their information to sell back to Umbrella. He is probably the best antagonist we've had in a Resident Evil SD Perry novel, because he is just there because he likes killing people. He's not goofy in any sort of way. He takes it very seriously. He's a complete sociopath. He gives me if you've read or seen Firestarter by Stephen King, he has a John Rainbird vibe, minus the creepy kid undertone things that John Rainbird had. And he becomes obsessed with killing Jill near the end of the book. Like, he just goes completely off the rails in this. So what did I think of Nemesis? It is rough in the beginning. Jill talks about trying to save civilians, only to have all these families that she was trying to get out of the city be horribly murdered by zombies. It's just sad, and seeing the city fully just annihilated by the T virus outbreak. It's just kind of sad, because we've been building to this for, well, 3 books technically, because Underworld takes place after this, continuity wise, because this kind of tries to say that it's happening simultaneously with RE2, which makes sense to a certain extent, but they never really clarified how the city was destroyed in City of the Dead, and now we have that. Like, Capcom hadn't decided yet what they wanted. I mean, the story goes that they had multiple Resident Evil 3s in development. This is the one that just won out being called Resident Evil 3. Code Veronica is the other well-known one, but I believe Survivor was the third one, which Survivor's terrible. Just terrible. I'm glad they went with Nemesis because I think it's the best Resident Evil 3 we got. I know there's a lot of Code Veronica fans, but I'm not a fan of video games that are hard for the sake of being hard and have terrible protagonists. I'm not talking about Rebecca, I'm talking about the other one. And we all know who that is. The worst protagonist in a Resident Evil game. But this isn't a Code Veronica review. This is a Nemesis review. I like Carlos. He adds a little lightheartedness to the whole thing, and he's just. It's nice to have someone that's just a dude. After the last book, where everyone knows like what's going on, pretty much with Umbrella. It's nice to have someone who's like relearning stuff because it takes it back to basics a bit. Also, this is the first Resident Evil to be like, yeah, we all have rifles. I mean, sure, David and John had rifles in Underworld, but why is Leon not carrying one? Why is Rebecca definitely not carrying one? That made no sense. I get not having Claire because Claire's like a civilian, but at least give one to Rebecca. She's a member of the Stars. Like, that didn't make any sense, but yeah, it's good stuff. It feels like survival horror. There's a ticking clock element, like there always is in these books, but it just works better in Nemesis because like it's there from the get go. It just makes the most sense. So, what would I rank Nemesis? I'd probably rank it a good 4 out of 5. It is not nearly as fun as the other ones are, but it's good horror. And it's worth your time to check out. So, anyway, have a nice day.